What I am doing here, for anyone who wants to know, I am making irregular, though rectilinear, right-angled shapes that I will be putting on the wall, and then over which I will be placing artwork. What purpose does this serve? I can hear you ask. Well, I need to breathe my 3M mounting glue fuse. I have my little fix to get in, I guess. Now, what I'm trying to do with this, I have a cunning plan. The cunning plan involves having this irregular background function as a unifying feature, sort of like, I don't know, a carpeting in a room. Not so much a wall-to-wall carpeting, but more like a 9 by 12 oriental rug, sort of pulling all of the furniture that's in that area together. So I'll show you shortly what I mean by this when we work on finishing one. Either someone has a baby or a dog. I think it's a dog. Speak an octave higher than you normally do and be slightly sing-songy, and your dog will love it, no matter how many humans think it's the worst thing ever. You know how I speak to my cat? Cat, get over here right this minute. That's how I talk to my cat. Works for me. Does it work for the cat? I don't know, but it works for me. Okay. Is this glued, do you think? Maybe. I had discovered that one of these came unglued while I was away. So I felt better. And I'm here to keep that from happening again. Okay, this is going to be a big one. I'm applying enough of this goop. The issue. one of the things that happens in this group is not unsurprising that it happens, but I find it interesting that it does. And what that is when we're at a location, quite often the thing that is drawn is often the thing that you actually go to see. You go to Mount Rushmore to see the dead white guys. We need to see more dead white guys, right? Carved in the mountain. And you ignore everything else that actually might be much more interesting than dead white guys. You might be missing out on this really interesting tree root, or this beat up station wagon that's actually much, much more interesting than the dead white guys that you can see photographed, or you could see photographed much better if you just bought the 25-cent postcard. So often when we go to these things, people in the group look at the thing that's in front of them and draw it. And there's nothing wrong with drawing the thing that's in front of you. It might be an absolutely magnificent church, or a beautiful lighthouse, or whatever it might be. But often there's something right next to it that's really, really neat. I was in Maine once, and in Mount Desert Island, and I was with a group with family that lives up there, and they said, oh, we have to stop and look at this. So we stopped. It was almost sunset. And I don't know if this was planned by my tour guide, or if it was he just suddenly saw that it was becoming to be sunset and he brought us there. But we got out of the car and we walked toward the ocean. And where you were parking your car and where you were walking toward the ocean, there were lots of big pine trees, so you couldn't see what you were going to see eventually. And what it was a lighthouse, which you didn't see from the land because you didn't need to. You had a road to drive on. You didn't have just a bunch of water. And so you were driving, as you were walking, saw this lighthouse, and we continued to walk down a little path. And over there is this lighthouse. And I was looking at it as, thinking it's a lighthouse. And then over there, 180 degrees behind me, or in front of me, I can't remember which, there were like 50 people, all with their tripods and the most expensive cameras, and they were taking pictures of this sunset happening next to this lighthouse. And it was much more interesting looking at these people, all teetering on this rock, this pointed rock over the cliff, trying to arrange themselves to take this picture. They weren't on a cliff, but if they were to have lost their footing, they would have fallen into the ocean, and the ocean was not a little shore, it was deep and rocky, which is why there was a lighthouse there. So a boat won't rip itself to shreds by running into it. So, but the view, looking at them, all trying to take this picture was much, much more interesting than this boring lighthouse. Now, lighthouses are a lot more boring and sunsets are a lot more boring, and combining them two, they're a little less boring, but they're not nearly, neither one of them, or together, they are not nearly as nice and as interesting a thing as the Trinity Church in Boston, designed by, what's his name? Starts with a Richardson, H.H. Richardson. That's really interesting. So if you were an urban sketcher and you decided to draw that, rather than that beat up pickup truck over there, all these tourists over here taking pictures, I can understand that because it's actually interesting. But often when you're drawing the most interesting thing in front of you, there's a much more interesting subject right next to it, I think. So when I go to these places, in my head, this is my head, in my head I'm thinking as I'm riding my bicycle, okay, I want to draw the bridge, and I'm thinking how I want to draw the bridge. I want to draw it with this, and I want the shadows. I sort of know what it looks like, and I kind of know what I want to depict. And I brought the tools that I wanted to bring in order to do what I think I want. And I get there, and I suddenly see something that's completely different and much more interesting than this thing that I had in my little head. And so it's the interesting views all of us have when we are the dozen or so of us that go to these events. And we don't have to draw any particular thing, but a good third or half tend to draw the structure that is in front of us. And it's usually a building, and it might be a great domed reading room of a library, or it might be a grand staircase, or it might be the fancy entrance to a building. But I'll have to show you what I did. I hope you don't mind. I just cracked up with the idea. Okay. Maybe you'll crack up too. If you don't, I'll find someone else. But I'm having these things on these little blue backgrounds, which will combine things. Yeah. And in between, there's going to be a little framed thing of words that describes sort of how we do what we do. And we're going to turn it. This is the introduction. This shows how we work. We meet weekly, and we can use any sort of materials we want, and blah, 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 blah. We go around the world and we do, etc. Then on this side, we'll deal with our venues. Let's start here with the Smith Center, and we're going to turn the corner right there. See, you smile, good. And we're going to move toward the outside of it. And I just thought that this was a perfect way to show a book. That book didn't really have anything other than just a few sketches of the Smiths. Most of them were self-portraits, and I thought, well, rather than people looking at that, not that there's anything wrong with the beautiful self-portraits, but they, I get it. but I thought that this was really a fun way to do it. It is. So this will be Smith Center here, zooming this way toward Harvard Square, and then a break, and then, oh, I don't know if it's gonna be the museum or maybe I'll alternate to, here we have sort of a inside and outside in a place, and maybe do the interior of the museum, and then maybe the park, public garden, and then move around. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I think that's going to be fun. But as I was hanging it up, I thought, she might really get pissed off that her work is in the corner, but I like her not, because it's really fun.
Yeah, I have tend to.
I didn't think so,
I'm
but
fussy about things.
I didn't think you would, and if you had, I'm sure I have something I can do, but there's really so few sketchbooks that people brought that have a full, there's sort of like 1 or 2 pages, so I'm just taking pictures of the pages, have them open in here or on the wall.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to have too many sketchbooks that people can look through. I think it's just easier.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll see you later.
okay, well, I'm glad you liked that. Thank you. Yeah, bye. Bye-bye. Open. Turn it off. Thank you. So anyway, it's a very interesting thing, when you go to a place and what do you see and what interests you. And many people in this group are very, very interested in architecture because, among other things, these people are architects. So they want to focus on the buildings. And other people are interested in people, and they want to draw the people, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with anything that we do. It's just, I find it fascinating that often I go to a place with a plan in my head for what I want to draw, and I get there and the plan goes completely out the window because something else shiny and sparkly attracts my eye. So I'm going to show you what I was doing with this person. So again, you're going to start here, sign, Urban Sketchers, and you'll move this way, or you'll see pictures of us drawing people, pictures of us sketching, because often we get in each other's way and we end up drawing each other, which is fun. Here we'll have a section that will have as many different kinds of artwork as I can find. Close-ups, details, expansive views, things in color. This will be the area that is the least organized in terms of subject matter, or in terms of subject matter, because I'm trying to show that we are a motley group of people with different interests and different mediums that we like and different skill sets and things like that. Then we're going to have an area that describes that we're a worldwide organization and we sometimes visit each other's cities and urban sketch with them. So I've got drawings of people from all over Europe and Asia that have visited us, South America. And then I'll show drawings that I've done in other locations as well. Then in this corner, I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to put there. It may be some of our COVIDian era prompts that we've done, where I just sort of want to suggest to the people in the gallery here that just because COVID happens doesn't mean we have to stop drawing. We still draw, and we still draw as a group, but we're just not with the group. Then this area, I don't know yet, figure that out. And then over here, the first large area is going to be a place that we go to quite often, which is Harvard Square. And in Harvard Square, there's a Smith Student Center for the Harvard students. And it's a brand new building with glass and stainless steel and walls of ivy and stuff, and food court. It's full of people, including us, that don't have to pay the tuition. So I'm starting with that over here. And maybe my collage of, I've been there like 3 or 4 times so far, so maybe I'll include this here or here. And then we hit the corner of the building, and I've added the sketchbook on the corner, and it goes from here to here, and then we'll go outside the building here and to Harvard Square with the out-of-town news and the Harvard gates and the storefronts and the people and the whatever. So that's my plan. And then behind me will be other venues. So what I want to do today is glue these blue shapes together to enough of a degree that when I am working tomorrow with a fellow urban sketcher who's offered to assist me, he and I can visualize what we're doing a little better than if they weren't there. And because I don't know exactly what pictures are going to go where, because we do have a lot of wiggle room in how we decide we want to set this thing up. I'm building these blue things in sections so that I can enlarge them if I want to. Between each section, I am going to have a little framed description of some element of what Urban Sketchers is about. And that will be another unifying thing because these frames are all the same size and they all have the same brown, boring wood exterior, simple frame. And but it'll provide, I think, the suggest order to the entire show. The show itself is just full of so many different kinds of things, different techniques, different medium, different everything. Even if we're all in the same place and we can look in 25 different directions, we're going to show 25 different views. And even if we all draw the same exact view, they're going to be different. So I want to show the similarities and also the differences that we have by ordering them in a particular manner. So that's my plan. And I'm overheating. So I probably should drink some water. Voila. So I am. Anyway, we'll catch you later. Bye.